Buckle in, it's gonna be a long one. Heidi ho, neighbor Tim. My name's Olivia, and today I'm doing a little movie review on a recent Netflix flick that came out that got a lot of hype. Everyone's really excited about it, and then it came out and I watched it and was disappointed. Obviously by the title of this video you know that I'm going to be talking about Sierra Burgess is a Loser. Obviously this being a critique and sort of movie review video, it's heavy spoilers. I spoiled the entire thing, so if you're not into that, bye. I think I'm coming down with a cold, so that's why my voice is very deep today. I watched the video over the weekend and then again today for preparation of this video. First things first, opening credits. We know that Shannon Purser's in the movie. They feel the need to constantly remind us that Shannon was in Stranger Things and that's why you're watching the movie. They have the Stranger Things music, the like synthesizer kind of deal, and then obviously the 80s dressing, and even though it's based in modern time, like smartphones, technology, it's not like it's based in the 80s like Stranger Things is, which would explain it, but there's no explanation. Later, the girl Veronica, who is an important character, calls Shannon Purser's character, you know, the person from Stranger Things, if you didn't know, a mouth breather. It's like no one really used that insult. I can think of maybe once or twice in like movies, cinema, whatever, where I've heard that insult. But she calls her a mouth breather, which is like a famous line that Eleven says in Stranger Things season 1. Like, we get it! We get it! We all know Barb deserved better, we know, but this is not the movie to reconcile Barb's character, because she's not Barb, she's Shannon Purser and she's playing a completely different person in this movie, and we should have focused on that, but instead they're like, hey, it's Barb from Stranger Things, get it? Get it? Do you get it? Right off the bat, she's speaking to her mother, who we find out is like, I guess a motivational speaker, or maybe motivational writer too, and one of the first lines Sierra says is something about she's the one teenager who doesn't obsess over looks. While her mom's trying to wipe toothpaste off her face. She has like white smeared across her cheek and she's like, no, I'm the one who doesn't care about looks. That's not caring about looks, that's just basic hygiene. Keep your face clean. Like, you're not special because you don't care if you have toothpaste smudged across your face. Like, and then, you know, the next thing we kind of see is her in a classroom and a girl giving her a hard time about some, you know, writing about her being transgender, which is supposed to be a hit because like, oh, she doesn't wear makeup so she looks like a man. And the teacher roasts that girl, which it was awesome. Like, there are fun parts of the movie, but just overall the movie has too many flaws that they can't be overlooked. She gives the teacher a hard time for standing up for her. She's like, I don't need you to fight my battles for me. She's allowed to have character flaws. Okay, that's fine. But just right off the bat, just prideful. You know, with her mom being like, no, let me have toothpaste smeared across my face. And then again with her teacher, don't fight my battles. Yeah, the girl was bullying me and I was doing nothing about it, but I don't need you to fight my battles. Even though like, the teacher was just getting onto a girl in her class for being rude. Like, that's what teachers are there for. Don't discourage that. Anyway, alright. Movie truly begins when the popular, beautiful, bully girl, Veronica, gives Jamie, the hot boy, Sierra's phone number. Here we go. This movie is flawed, but I think this line is golden. They're in the diner, and they're talking about, like, why did you give him the different girl's phone number? Like, he's super hot. And she's like, oh, well, he hangs out with losers, and only losers hang out with losers. One of the girls is like, he's like, flash your boobs hot. You flashed your boobs at our taxi driver in, I think, Cancun is where she said they were. And one of the girls turns to the other and says, Juan Diego needed the tip. He had a family to support. That was Mean Girls sitting at the table with Karen saying, you're from Africa, why are you white? Oh my god, Karen, you can't just ask people why they're white. I give it props for that. This movie had potential. This is why I'm making this video, is I'm frustrated because this movie had potential. There were lines and there were certain pieces of it that could have been so good. It could have been such a good movie, and it just disappointed me. It just didn't live up to what it could have been, and it's not just a bad movie. It's a movie that could have been good. Alright, it starts off innocent, right? You know, she gets a text from a random number and it turns out to be a cute boy, and she's like, maybe he thinks I'm someone else, but like, she doesn't really know who, and she just talks with him, and like, I don't blame her. I probably would have done the same thing, right? So it's innocent at first. And I love the scene of Jamie trying to get like a shirtless selfie, because I like that is very real. It shows him, you know, standing in front of the mirror, taking like a couple and having to like breathe all the way out so he can flex completely. And then it later shows him sitting on his bed kind of like hunched over, and his stomach's like not pooching out, but like sort of. It's there's no definition there, because that's like a normal human body. He's in great shape. He is chiseled because he was able to like flex those muscles and it be visible, but like his normal resting body doesn't look like that. I do like that. I think that's healthy for boys to a degree, to show them that like, hey, you know, normally even like this hot guy just sitting around doesn't look like that. Again, had potential. Jumping ahead, she finds out that he thinks he's talking to Veronica, right? He texts her and he's like, hey, I know that you're the cheerleader at this school, come on, Veronica. And she's like, oh no, that's who he thinks he's talking to. This is the official turning point from kind of pen pals, kind of innocent, to catfishing. She now knows who he thinks he's talking to. She knows that he believes he's talking to Veronica, and she knows that she is not Veronica. And yet she continues to talk to him. So that's when the line gets crossed. That's when it becomes catfishing. And catfishing is, say it with me folks, wrong. But I mean, again, they show that like she has genuine feelings for him, and she feels like he has genuine feelings for her based on her personality. So it gives you an insight as to why people catfish. I'm not saying that people who catfish are all evil. That's not at all the case. People who catfish, I think, just kind of like this, just kind of get caught up in it, caught up in a lie they may not have really meant to start, and then get feelings for this person, get attached to this person, and they don't want to let go. So I get it, I understand it, doesn't make it right, but I get it. So first, Sierra takes advantage of Veronica. She sees that she's upset, her boyfriend broke up with her, and it's because she's not smart enough, he's in college, whatever. So Sierra looks and sees a vulnerable person and thinks, yes, I can use that to my advantage. Like, I know that the movie would have had no plot without it, but the prideful part of Sierra's character comes out again in this moment, where she comes up to a broken and vulnerable Veronica and sort of convinces her to help her catfish this boy in exchange for tutoring her. So this is where we get insight into Veronica's character, and this is the meat of my argument, because we see her home life. We see, first of all, her house is small. She looks and dresses like she's this rich, high-class girl who's, you know, better than everyone with her like 20,000 something followers on Instagram. But we see her house and it's small, and we go inside her house and it's cluttered and cramped, and there's junk everywhere. And, you know, we're in her room and her room looks nice, but then her mom barges in, and her mom makes these like sort of jokes about her dad being dead, like if he didn't die in the plane crash, or if he didn't die of a heart attack. And she's like, their dad's not dead. You later find out their dad's alive and with a 22-year-old girl. So there's obviously a lot of heartbreak there. So she's got her parents split up, her dad abandoned them for another life, so she feels abandoned by her father, and her mother is not her mother anymore. Her mother is not in the business of being a mother. Her mother is in the business of being like a talent agent, and is very twisted. Her mom only cares about her daughter being, all of her daughters, being thin, pretty, and popular, and being little pageant queens, or being cheerleader queens, being the best, not in like an academic sense, or even something that would benefit them, but in something that's fleeting, like beauty. And you can tell her mom is projecting her own insecurities onto her daughter because her husband left her for a younger, more attractive woman. And later it shows her and Sierra trying to study, and the two sisters are mocking her. The dog starts barking and her mom starts projecting her insecurities out loud, just talking over the girls. There's craziness, there's distractions and chaos, and you see Veronica is just barely holding it together, and then she just loses it and has to leave the room. There's so much here to unpack. There's so much in Veronica's life that I would have loved to have seen more of. This movie should have been about Veronica, and if not just Veronica, if it had to have Sierra in it, about how Veronica and Sierra could have built each other's characters up. Veronica kind of gave Sierra a little bit of confidence, kind of pulled her out of her shell, made her go to a party later, blah blah blah, and Sierra taught Veronica, tried to help her, you know, gain a little bit of knowledge and insight, not just like basic book knowledge, but like philosophy, which is a knowledge that kind of spreads over a lot of things, and it does end up making her a better person and a kinder person. So this movie could have been about the girls' friendship and about them working together, and not about just a girl trying to get a boy. But unfortunately, though they tiptoe it, it still isn't the premise. It still isn't the main meat of the story. The main course of the story is girl wants guy and ends with girl getting guy. We need to see the more human side of girls like Veronica, who she is a bully, but it shows that hurt people, right? The classic saying, and we needed more of that because I think that would benefit us way more. Seeing the background of a bully and how girls get like that, or even boys, how people become toxic and evil. It's not because they just are, but because where they grew up, what they were raised in, is a toxic, evil environment that fosters that, or something happens to them. It doesn't excuse their behavior, but it explains it, helps you understand it a little more, and gives you empathy for that person. That's where our help will eventually come from. If we are ever going to grow, it is going to be because we have empathy for each other as a society. Man, I'm already preaching, and I'm not even halfway through my notes, so here we go. Alright, seeing Veronica, cry, and then showing her wipe away her tears and then take a pretty picture. Such a powerful moment. Again, this movie had very good moments. So, the FaceTime video. This is kind of officially, yes, Veronica did take pictures of herself for Sierra to send, but this is when Veronica is now guilty of catfishing as well. She's contributing to it. She is in this. She does the FaceTime call, which was played out very cute and quirky, but wrong. It was like, the whole time you're like kind of hoping they get away with it, but at the same time you feel bad for Jamie. This isn't fair to him. It's not fair. And again, we've all seen enough MTV's Catfish to know that this usually never ends well. He's gonna get his heart broken, and that's not fair to him. But they do it anyway. And you would understand that from Veronica, because she's the bad girl, right? She's the mean girl. But Sierra, you're supposed to be rooting for her. She's supposed to be the good girl. But the good girl is willingly deceiving a guy that she says she has feelings for, someone she cares about. She is purposefully deceiving him at an extreme level of getting the girl he thinks he's talking to sit in front of a camera and then do like a voiceover. That's a little crazy, right? This FaceTime video is like the beginning of Veronica kind of letting down her wall and letting Sierra in, the blossom of their friendship, which I love, should have seen more of. I apologize if I'm looking this way, my computer's down here. I wish I had one of those cool setups that like YouTubers have, but I'm broke, so So we see Veronica be human a little more later on. She reads a line from Oscar Wilde's book, and Sierra explains how it's about vanity and society. So she ends her phrase with, "He kind of loses his soul." And Veronica, laying on the bed, says, "Lame." And she's saying it, but it's hollow. You know she doesn't mean it. She's only saying those words to kind of keep up this facade, but they're empty. Her character is beginning to change and grow and evolve. Alright, so Jamie asks Veronica, Sierra, out. This is when it gets terrible. This was when my real problem with the movie started. This was when I knew I had to make this video, because they go on the date and like Sierra's in the background kind of watching Veronica with Jamie. It's really funny when he puts his arm around Veronica and Sierra's in the back and she gets all mad, like, what did you expect him to do? He's on a date with the girl he believes he's been talking to. Come on, like, she had so many chances to come clean and didn't. At this point, it's just bad, and there's no excuse for it. There's no excuse for her continuing to do what she's doing after she's met him in real life, pretends to be deaf, and then walks away. Worst part of the whole movie. Sierra is hiding under Jamie's Jeep, eavesdropping on Veronica and Jamie talking. And she can tell that Jamie is about to kiss Veronica, and Veronica's like, I was told not to kiss him, crap. I'm not supposed to kiss him. So she makes him close his eyes. She gets Sierra to come out from under the Jeep, which, like, theoretically, this was a cool move for her to do. She didn't backstab her friend. She could have just said, no, don't kiss me, but she was like, here's an opportunity for me to make Sierra happy. Character development! I love it! But it's terrible, because Sierra comes out from under the Jeep. Jamie has his eyes closed, and she kisses him. What's my problem with that, you ask? He's not kissing the girl he thinks he's kissing. He is tricked into kissing a different girl. Yes, He is in love with her personality and her voice. But he is looking at this one person who he has spent the whole night with. He has spent the evening with her, watched a movie with her, they're hanging out talking at his Jeep, and he seems to be, be getting along with her, even just her by herself without Sierra's help, and he goes to kiss her, and he is tricked into kissing another person. That is wrong, and that is gross, coming from a person who takes physical touch very seriously. That is something that I have a lot of guard around. I would be very upset to find out that someone kissed me without my permission. She kissed him without his permission. He gave permission to Veronica to kiss him. He did not give permission to Sierra to kiss him. I don't care whose personality he fell in love with. He wanted to kiss Veronica. I mean, at its best, it's weird and awkward and creepy. At its worst, that's sexual harassment. If this movie had been gender swapped and it was a girl being tricked into kissing another guy, people would have a field day. This movie would not have made it. They wouldn't have made the movie. That would have been wrong, red flags going up, but instead, since it's it's a quirky girl who, she has feelings for him and he has feelings for her but doesn't know it, he thinks it's this girl, then it's okay. It's not okay. That scene, I feel like, is just that's where they lost me, officially. It was where I was like, nope, nope, wrong, irreconcilable after that. If they had come back and been like, that was wrong, then I would have been like, okay, well, good, thank you. But no, they didn't. Jump cut, Veronica and Sierra, friendship, whatever, leads up to a night of a party. Veronica's going to a party, invites Sierra. They're at the party, and Sierra overhears Veronica's ex-boyfriend, Spence, talking to another guy, saying that he purposefully tried to make Veronica feel bad about herself by convincing her that she was dumb in order to, break up with her. Which there is so much there to be broken down as to how Veronica ended up in a relationship like this, very likely because of her father's issues. She has no father present in the house, and her father abandoned her. She's very likely to get into relationships with toxic men because she has no healthy role in place. She's in this toxic relationship with this guy. He breaks up with her by manipulating her, convincing her that she's dumb, feeding on her insecurities. And we overhear that. There's so much to be unpacked there, but we still kind of breeze over it. There's so much depth in boy taking advantage of a girl because he's making her feel insecure. That happens way too much. We needed to explore that further, but we didn't, because they're not the main characters. The main character is this quirky girl, Sierra, who's not that great. The drunk phone call, by the way, between Jamie and Sierra was just an attempt to kind of make the audience feel better. Like, you think, okay, here we go, she's gonna confess. She was about to confess, she just fell asleep by accident, oh no. Unfortunate. Yeah, but she could have woke up the next morning and she was worried she told him, but when she found out she hadn't, she could have told him then. And she didn't. Sierra gets suspicious that Veronica might like Jamie. Veronica's saying positive things about Jamie, like, I should be with a guy like that, which she should. Sierra gets a little defensive. She's like, wait, do you like Jamie? And Veronica's like, no. And this is when that kind of seed of bitterness and that fear gets planted. What did you think was gonna happen? You set them up on a date. You set Veronica up on a date with a guy who's super into her. He's not been talking to her, but he still is into his idea of her. You set them up on a date. He is sweet. He hangs out with her. He's a gentleman to her. He doesn't try to take advantage of her. And he's really cute. What did you expect to happen? I would 100% expect Veronica to start having feelings for Jamie. That would make sense. That seed's been planted. Here's the downfall. Sierra's getting ready for the football game, and she looks out a window and she sees Jamie and Veronica talking because, Jamie thinks that he's dating Veronica, right? He went on a date with her, and they kiss. He thinks he's already kissed her, and so he kisses her again. Like, what did you expect to happen? But I get it's a teenage movie and teenagers don't think correctly. They jump to wild accusations, and this movie wouldn't have had a true climax without this moment, so they had to make the plot move along somehow. Sierra hacks into Veronica's Instagram and posts a screenshot of her getting dumped through her direct messages. Who would really care that much? I mean, maybe that's just me, maybe that was the environment I went to high school in, but when I was in high school, Instagram was kind of just starting to become a thing, and if you posted a screenshot of someone getting dumped through their DMs, people would be like, oh, that sucks, but would move on. it wouldn't have become such a big thing. No one would have put it up on the jumbo screen at a football game. That just wouldn't have happened. And second of all, very likely the thing that would have happened in real life is not that she would have posted a picture of Veronica getting dumped in her direct messages. It would have been her posting probably a nude. But can't do that because that's illegal. It would be hard to forgive Sierra for something like that. So they had to think of something bad enough to hurt Veronica's feelings, but not too bad that they have to deal with legal consequences. And then, shocker, he gets hurt by it. There's a line from Veronica where she says, "You whine about your looks, but you have no idea what it's like to be me." And she's right. Sierra, especially by this point in the movie, has an ugly personality. She's done a lot of terrible things out of pretty bad motives of just getting what she wants, wanting a cute guy. Sierra breaks down in front of her parents. She gets home and she's sobbing and she's like, "You have no idea what it's like to look like me. You know, you're a hot person and Dad's, you know, brilliant." And basically she blames them for why she's hurt. She blames them. "You stuck me with this," is what she says. Sort of. That's not verbatim, but she basically says, "You stuck me with this." She's blaming her parents for what has happened to her, or at least how she feels about herself and how she looks. She blames her parents. She does this throughout the movie. She blames either other people or just circumstances for what happens. She never takes responsibility for what she does. She comes home sobbing, broken, runs to her room, and we never see her parents come and check on her. Like, she may have a rocky relationship with her mom. We've established that from the beginning. But they show a good relationship between her and her dad. He totally should have come in and dropped some poetry bombs on us. Like, that would have made sense, but then I guess we forgot about that. Because it's about Sierra, no one else. And here is when Sierra writes her song. And this is supposed to be the beginning of the resolution of the movie. It's a beautiful song, no critique there. Loved it, would love if it's on Spotify. However, she really hurt Veronica. That devastated her, and that for some reason made the whole school turn against her. She lost friends. She was heartbroken and humiliated. So sending her a audio clip of a song you recorded, and the song's not even an apology, it's talking about how she's a sunflower and all the other girls are roses and that she's quirky and weird and hopes that someone will pick her. That's not an apology. And somehow that brings a resolution between her relationship with Veronica. And not by her own doing. Sierra didn't apologize to Veronica, and Sierra didn't deserve what Veronica later does for her. Sierra is lucky that Veronica's character has slowly softened and changed throughout the movie so that she is a more understanding, empathetic person. Veronica kind of sees it and lets that soften her heart for Sierra, sort of forgive her for the hurt, and take that as a truce. In real life, probably wouldn't have happened. We also get a taste of Veronica talking to her mom, kind of standing up to her and letting her know that the way she's been treating her isn't right. And it didn't last long enough. Needed more of that. More. So Veronica convinces Jamie to go to homecoming with Sierra. The lesson we are supposed to have learned from this is that looks aren't important. He fell for Sierra's personality, not Veronica's. That's what should matter. This brushes over the fact that this is someone who willingly and purposefully deceived him for a long time. She apologizes, but she follows it up with some stuff about the world being against her. And I guess this is supposed to mean like, oh, she has a great heart and a great mind. She's just not like conventionally attractive, so woe is me, the world works against me. Here's something I've started saying recently, and I stand by it. An apology is not an apology if there's a but after it. If someone says, "I'm sorry, but," cut them off. That's it. They're not really apologizing. They're saying, "I'm sorry," to make you more open to what they're about to say, and then they are giving excuses for why they acted that way. She says, "I'm sorry, but I feel like sometimes the world works against me," something like that. So she says, "I'm sorry," but she gives an excuse for why she did it, which means she really isn't that sorry. She feels like she didn't have a choice, or that she had to do it because the world works against her, and he never would have felt for her if she hadn't have done it. And like, yeah, that's kind of true. He admits it. Like, yeah, she may not have caught his eye immediately, but then he kind of brushes over that, like, "But you're my type." Luckily, I guess, he finds her attractive. He says it. He says, you're beautiful, you know, you're smart, you're funny, blah, blah, blah. What the movie is supposed to be teaching us is that looks shouldn't matter, that he fell in love with her personality. But he still thinks she's pretty. He still thinks she's attractive. And I guess it's like, oh, well, her personality shines through, so he finds her beautiful. But, I mean, looks are still important, and he still says that she is beautiful. Let's say he didn't find her attractive. Best case scenario, he would have been her friend. Worst case scenario, he never talks to her again because she catfished him. Every episode of Catfish, 99% of episodes of Catfish that I have watched, where it's been a real catfish situation like this, the person will either want to be their friend because, oh, well, you know, they had a good personality, I like talking to them, or they never talk to them again. 99% never end up dating. And when he picks her up for the dance and kisses her and he's like, have we done that before? That, ooh, I think that was supposed to be like, again, quirky, but I know I rambled a little bit, I had trouble sticking on one topic. I'm done with my summary of the movie and I'm getting into my main arguments, and that is, Sierra Burgess, she acts confident and she's cool with it. You know, the very beginning of the movie, she's brushing her teeth and she's like feeling herself. She's good, she's cool, right? But we see her take advantage of a girl at her weak moment, took advantage of a girl, lied, and used her as a pawn for lying, kissed someone without their consent, and then cyberbullied a girl. Those are bad things. Those are bad qualities. Those are things that a person who only cares about themselves does. Everything she did for her own personal gain. She went after Veronica to get Veronica to help her so that she could gain a boy. She is lying to this boy so that he will fulfill the sort of need that she has to be liked by a cute boy. She kind of considers his feelings, but not really. She doesn't care. She wants him to be there for her, not necessarily her there for him. She kisses him without his consent because, oh, but it's really me he's in love with. No. And then she cyberbullies another girl. Cyberbully, that's what that is. If the football game wasn't a factor in this movie, Sierra likely would never have come clean, or at least not for a long time. She would have continued to catfish him. Sierra never came clean. Veronica came clean, and in doing so, outed Sierra. Sierra still, when standing on the football field, didn't say anything. It was Veronica that was like, I'm not who you think I am, she's not who you think she is. Sierra never did anything to right her wrongs. She sends out the song to Veronica, but it's not an apology song, it's a song about herself. She sings about herself. I don't think we ever actually see her utter the words, I'm sorry, to Veronica. She gives her like a look later on, and they hug, but I don't ever hear the words sorry. So she's lucky that Veronica is a very forgiving person and also an easily manipulated person because she's obviously manipulated by her mom and by her boyfriend. We see Sierra kind of apologize to Jamie, but not really. This movie basically shows no consequences to her actions. She turns in an assignment late and in the wrong format, so slacks off in school, and still gets high praise from her teacher because her teacher already liked her, she was a teacher's pet. She cyberbullies her friend and doesn't really get any punishment from that. Her friend still is her friend. Yeah, they get in a fight, but like, that's it. She catfishes a guy and still gets the guy, which almost never happens. So if the movie couldn't be about Veronica's life, which it should have been, and about her friendship with Sierra helping her build character, it should have been a cautionary tale. If it had done everything it did, but showed how all of those actions are wrong, and how it ended in Sierra losing something, losing the boy and the friend, and maybe even her friend Dan, and failing that grade and not getting the school, like, that would have made more sense. Instead, it ends with her getting straight A's and getting to go to the school that she wants and getting to speak long distance to her boyfriend. Still, you know, you assume that she's still friends with the popular cheerleader after being horrible to her, and still friends with Dan after being bad to him, and nothing really affects her relationship with her parents. Like, all these terrible things have no consequences for her. That's a terrible moral. It's a terrible moral of the story. There are rated R movies with better morals than that. Are you kidding me? I watched The Hitman's Bodyguard not too long ago. Loved that movie. It has great morals. Like, yeah, they like cuss and like kill people, but it had better morals than this. Even though Sierra isn't conventionally attractive, it still shows a pretty girl still getting the guy in the end. If this movie had been made in early 2000s, I wouldn't even be making this video. I mean, there was the Cinderella story. We all loved that, right? You know, we're moving towards allowing, you know, more average looking people to play main roles and get good things, which is good. This message is no longer going to pretty girls, it's going to quirky girls. It's letting them get away with it because they're quirky. Well, the world works against them, so they should get everything they want because not because she has a great personality, because yeah, she may have been funny and like kind of smart, but she was prideful, took advantage of people, and a deceiver. So anyway, like I said, if this movie had been made in early 2000s, wouldn't even be making this video, but we've come a long way since then. And I think this movie was supposed to be progressive. Like I said, conventionally unattractive girl playing the main role, getting the hot guy, trying to show why bullies are the way they are, still didn't give it enough attention. Briefly showing her and the mean girl build a friendship instead of a rivalry where she wins over the mean girl, which used to happen a lot in movies. But it wasn't helpful, and it was disappointing. And that is 45 minutes of me talking about a movie on Netflix. Thanks for watching. I'm not going to talk about this anymore. If you see this and maybe you have an opposing view, maybe you agree with me, I don't know, comment, let me know what you thought of the movie. Thanks for watching. Maybe I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
I put my foot in my mouth.